there's this makeup company called Vampyre Cosmetics. Now, the first thing I hate about Vampyre Cosmetics is that they decide to try to make themselves stand apart by using a Y. Vampyre Cosmetics. I checked them out. It looks like the Great Value version of MAC. And it looks like what all of the chicks who didn't make the flag team, so they decided to be quote unquote edgy, what they would use. Can you know what that's code for, right? What I just said?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay.
They make goth themed makeup. Gag me. Stop it. I looked at it. It's literally it's makeup for the chicks who didn't make the flag team, and they decided to be edgy as their personality substitute. So they, Alice Cooper's Alice Cooper. He doesn't need their money. He's Alice Cooper. I mean, it's not his real name, but you know what I mean. He's Alice Cooper. I mean, this guy pioneered, he's a rock pioneer, but I dare say he pioneered goth rock. So he had this partnership with Vampyre Cosmetics, right? Well, he gave an interview where he was asked about, or somehow it came up, the issue of transgender and the surgeries on kids, etc. He said that he thought transgender surgeries were a fad, and he thought that it was wrong, though, that kids were being confused. And when he was asked about it, he said, he goes, I find it wrong when you've got a 6-year-old kid who has no idea. He says, if he just wants to play and you're confusing him, telling him that, yeah, you're a boy, but you could be a girl if you want to be, he says that's confusing and it's not kind to kids, and he's not wrong. He says that it's absurd to confuse kids like this. He says you're still trying to find your identity, and yet here's this thing going on saying, yeah, but you can be anything you want. You can be a cat if you want to be. I mean, if you identify as a tree, and I'm going, come on. He says it's so absurd. He says it's gone out of the point of absurdity. And he also mentioned the woke thing, and he goes, quote, who's making the rules? He says, is there a building somewhere in New York where people sit down every day and say, okay, we can't say mother now. We have to say birthing person. Get that out on the wire. Who's the person making these rules? He asks. I don't get it. He says, I'm not being old school about it. I'm being logical about it. So Vampyre Cosmetics, they were unhappy about his statements because they're narrow-minded bigots. They were unhappy that Alice Cooper thought it was absurd to push 6-year-olds into mutilating their genitals because their parents wanted to live out their activist dreams or their Munchausen by proxy syndrome and pretend that their children were of a different sex. He just thought, it's a little too young for that. He didn't say anything mean. There was not a single thing in there he said that was mean. But Vampyre Cosmetics really wanted, because your name is Vampyre Cosmetics and you got Flag Team Rejects as your ambassador. So, I'm looking at this like you really are thirsty for some kind of media attention. The fact that they got Alice Cooper as an endorsement with them in the first place is amazing. I don't know how they accomplished that feat. So they decided to release a statement. They said, quote, in light of recent statements by Alice Cooper, we will no longer be doing a makeup collaboration. We stand with all of the members of the LGBTQIA+ community and believe everyone should have access to health care. All pre-order sales will be refunded. Vampyre Cosmetics for vampires. So first off, cutting off your schlong is not health care. Unless it's a bomb and it's going to blow, and that's the only way that you can, remedy that situation. You know what I'm saying? Taking some skin off of your thigh and fashioning it into a Frankenween and attaching it to your female copulatory organ does not make you a dude. That's exactly, I'm being very generous in how I'm describing that actual process. So that is not healthcare. That's actually the opposite of healthcare because you are creating a need for healthcare for life by doing this. So because he thought that 6 years old, because he thought little kids maybe shouldn't confuse him like that, you can't do makeup with him, a guy who can do makeup better than you, because you all do makeup like RuPaul taught you. I'm trying really hard here. It's Monday, and I'm trying real hard. I feel like Sam Jackson sitting in the diner talking to Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd here. They said all pre-order sales of their Vampyre Cosmetics This is like an unintentional what we do in the shadows skit. So they decided they're not going to do a makeup collab with him. Actually, it looks like a Pat McGrath ripoff, if I'm being totally honest. Like, you could literally probably get some stuff out of the trash at Walmart and cobble it together with some basic mineral oil and come out with a more pigmented, palette than this wannabe emo trash, not actually goth, flag girl reject garbage. If I'm being honest. Just saying. So they said they described themselves as proudly women-owned, disabled-owned, and LGBTQ plus owned. Like, what else do you want to add? Stutter-owned. What else? Six-toe-owned. Like, when do you want to stop it? Gets indigestion-owned. Where does it go? Where does it stop? I mean, I'm just saying, halitosis-owned. Like, where do you stop? The managing owner of the company said, quote, "We are queer and disabled." I'm not even kidding you. That's what she said. That's an actual statement that she said. I felt like I just want to stop there for a moment before I get into the rest of the statement, because I feel like are you dunking on yourself? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. And proudly neurodiverse women working around the clock to bring you cosmetics so uniquely packaged, you exclaim, "Holy crap," when you see it. That's her quote. Yeah, holy blank, that's horrible. That's my first thought. Now, we actually reached out to Alice Cooper. I met him once. I met him at a Comic-Con. Nicest dude ever. And there's no way he just made one comment. He's not looking, he's probably, you know what he's doing? He's probably praying and then feeding hungry kids somewhere. Oh, I'm not joking. Like, he literally leads Bible study. You know that, right? He's a big Christian. He leads Bible studies, and every Christmas, you know how Alice Cooper spends Christmas? Alice Cooper spends Christmas feeding and personally serving hungry children in Phoenix. That's what he does every Christmas. That's like a thing that he does. That's how he spends Christmas. He doesn't go to Aspen and celebrate on the slopes. No, he literally goes and he personally serves and feeds thousands of hungry kids. That's amazing. Do you think Vampyre Cosmetics does that? The audacity of a company that is grifting off of Pat McGrath and Mac and wannabe stuff, trying to cancel the guy who literally created everything that you do, is so unbelievably ironic to me. I talked about this on Twitter because this made me really angry. The fact that they tried to do this, they're an intolerant and bigoted company. And they think apparently that experimental medically unnecessary surgery on kids is the same as healthcare. These people are posers. And the fact that they are posers is measured by the fact that they didn't even know, apparently, they didn't know Alice Cooper when they signed up to do this collaboration with him. They didn't know anything beyond like a garden variety Google search. Otherwise, they would have become immediately familiar with his beliefs. Had they been actually familiar with him, or had they been real fans, like, his statement would not at all have been surprising. I mean, hi, only women bleed. Good grief. I want to make fun of this company more. Have you seen it, Kane?
Yeah, I did.
Is this the mean thing to do? Is it mean? Should I not? Because I'm trying to be nice. I just can't stand. You know what I mean when I say flag reject, right? Flag squad reject. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they blocked me on Instagram. I think. I only said one thing to them, but they're ruining Silent Hill by trying to do a thing with Silent Hill. But I'm just like, these are all the chicks that couldn't get dates for Homecoming. I'm being real. Juan's dying. I'm being real. It's for real. Right? It's like, don't sit here and try to appropriate, this is who I am. It's not your costume. Don't sit here and try to do that because you couldn't succeed anywhere else, for real. Your makeup looks like, your pigmentation looks horrible.